friends, Kim from Stamping Imperfection. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am excited that you're here because we are days away from the release of the new Stampin' Up! Mini catalog and the start of Sale-a-Bration. Now, as an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I've been able to actually order stuff a few weeks ago, actually. So I've been playing with some of the new goodies, and on this project that I'm making these are sticky note holder calendars that are easels that you can stand up on your desk or wherever you need to have a little calendar handy. So I have been making these. I usually make this project in like November or December at the latest, and use them for stocking stuffers for family and gifts for friends, because I find them really useful to have on my desk. But I was really busy in November and December because I have a new granddaughter, my very first granddaughter. My daughter had to go back to work right away, so I spent November and December in Ann Arbor taking care of my brand new granddaughter, which was very exciting, I have to tell you. But I didn't get a lot of crafting done. So I'm making these now. My mother's birthday's in January. I thought it would be appropriate for her. I've already made one for my husband, and I'll send my kids one. And of course I want to send my downline some of these. Now these calendars are I got a package of 10 of these calendars, and they just came in a stack like this. You just peel them apart. There were 10 of these, and you can get all different sizes. So you may need to adjust the size of your project to the calendars that you're able to get. These are 2 by 3 inches, and this is a great size for me. It's big enough to read, and I got 10, which is a good amount for me, and they weren't horribly expensive. And then I'm using the 3 by 3 inch post-it notes, but my husband doesn't really use post-it notes, so and I doubt my son does either. So I thought I would make a masculine version of this and not put a post-it note holder in it. So I'll show you how I did the little box pocket. You can see that it's got some width here, so you can actually pull this out and use it that way. So I'll show you how I did that, and then we'll get started. So you need here's what I started with for those. I used Melon Mambo, and you need a sheet of Melon Mambo. You need a little piece of white scrap paper, and I used a 1.5 inch circle punch, so it just needed to be bigger than 1.5 inches square. And then I used 1 sheet of this fantastic Toadstool garden paper. Now, let me show you the stuff that I'm using. I got myself a package of this Toadstool garden 6 by 6 inch pattern paper. You can just get a quick look at the patterns. These are double-sided papers. They're fun and happy. I love the color palette. It's pretty perfect for spring. And I realize it's still winter, but it's kind of fun to, be using some bright colors. And they give you the color palette on the back. Melon Mambo is one of the colors. So I am loving this. I've made a whole bunch of cards with this paper, and this was free, friends. This is one of the free Sale-a-Bration items. I can't show you the inside of this, but this is a Sale-a-Bration catalog, and it will be available online on January 7th, and you can get the products from January 7th through February 28th. And how this works is you can get these freebies. For every $60 you spend, you can choose a freebie from this little catalog, which, by the way, will be online at shopwithkim.net on January 7th. So you spend $60, you get to choose a freebie. And with 180, of course, you get 3 freebies. 120, you get 2 freebies. $60, you get 1 freebie. Now, when you spend 120, there are 2 selections in the catalog that are exclusive for spending at least $120. So you can get those special freebies, or you can choose 2 freebies 2 of the $60 freebies from the catalog. So that's pretty great. Now on the same day, you will also see the mini catalog. This will start also on January 7th, and this will run through April 2025. And you can tell by, it's so pretty, you can tell by the front of the catalog, it's very pretty. This stuff is beautiful. I'm going to show you one of the bundles I got and 2 of the other freebies. Here are 2 of the other freebies that I used on my project. Here you can see the pattern paper that I've used, and you can see this ribbon, and it's sort of a distressed ribbon. It's fresh Freesia seam binding ribbon, and this is one of the freebies that you can choose from. Another one of the freebies is this package of purple adhesive backed sequins, and you can see I've used quite a few of these so far because, like I said, I've been making cards, I've been making the calendars, and I want to get the calendars sent out since it is January. I'd like my friends and family to get these before the month is over, so I'm trying to get them started. Now, I also used a bundle here. See this new fabulous shape here? This is the To the Point punch. Here's the punch. You can buy the punch all by itself, or you can buy it with the coordinating stamp set. And let me see, here's the coordinating stamp set. So it's called the Hugs for Love bundle. It's one of the bundles in the kit. And you know that when new bundles come out, you save 10% on those bundles when you purchase them together. If you purchase them separately, it's going to cost you 10% more. So I think these are pretty fabulous. I love when they release a punch like this, a nice label punch, and they have some borders to go around it. I love that. But you might notice that the border I used on this isn't either one of these, because Stampin' Up also came out with a second stamp set that coordinates with this punch. So the bundle is just the Hugs for Love and the punch. Then you can separately get the second stamp set for this, and this is the one I'm going to use today. This one does have a Valentine's message, but certainly the rest of this can be used all year long. So I love that. Now another stamp set I'm going to use is the Seaside Wishes, because I loved this sentiment. Sometimes the simplest things mean the most. I thought that was a great sentiment to put on a calendar. I've got my circle punch, I've got my adhesives, I got all my stuff all ready to go here in my little bin that I got at the dollar store last year, and this is how I organize my projects, and I love it. So the set I'm going to make for you now, the calendar I'm going to make for you now, is not going to have a post-it note holder, and it's going to be a more masculine feel. So I'll share all the dimensions. Now if you want a printable set of instructions and measurements, you can get the printable version of this for free when you place an order in my online store at shopwithkim.net. And any order of any size, and I will send you this PDF between now and January 15th. So I'll email it to you. So it's all the instructions, it's the supply list, and a photo of the finished project. All right, so I started out with early espresso for this version, and I cut it at 4 1/4 by 11. I scored it at 5 1/2, just like I was making a regular A2 size card. I also have a piece of the pattern paper. This is from one of the patterns from the Toadstool Gardens freebie papers, and this is what the back looks like. I really like this one. One of the coordinating colors in the set is Early Espresso. So I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of liquid glue to this. And I'm going to get it close to the edge, but not too close, because I really don't like it when the glue squishes out the side of my paper, and I have to use my adhesive remover to get it off. This is actually a brand new container of glue. There we go. And I've been using this little tape thing here to actually hold it vertical. Okay, and I like to open it up to align. I find that I get it straighter and more evenly placed when I do it like this. And you can tell that the blade on my trimmer really needs to be replaced. I'll show you in a minute what that means. Like, and I don't have any spare blades, but you can see that the little like paper fringy things on the bottom there where I cut the paper. Not a great look. Sometimes I use a nail file to get those off when this happens. So it's going to take a couple weeks for me to get a new blade. So I'm going to be very patient about that. All right, so this pattern paper is cut at 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to put that aside. Now, these pads were 2 by 3, so I cut another piece of the early espresso at 2 1/4 by 3 1/4, and then I'm going to put a ton of glue on the back of this. And I made my husband one of these last night, and he actually really liked it. I was really excited about it. He finds the little tear-off calendars to be pretty useful. We used to get them from our insurance company, but they aren't sending those anymore, which makes me sad because I really liked those little calendars that they used to send. I just liked a little contrast between the calendar and the back. And then I'm just going to add this on here. And sort of centering it on the bottom between the two sides. And I just want it to be straight so that it doesn't drive whoever gets it crazy. Okay, now I've got 2 other things here. I'll leave that till last. So I went ahead and punched out one of these to the point labels, and I really like this. I'm excited about this punch. I think it's a really fun shape. It reminds me of, there's a realtor that sells houses in the neighborhood that actually has signs of this shape. So I wonder if the designer of this punch used something like that as their inspiration, because it's pretty perfect. All right, so I'm going to do that, and I actually really liked putting a little border on it. So I've got this from the Bright Borders stamp set. It coordinates with the punch. And I'm going to use my early espresso. I just wanted it to be subtle, and I do love tone on tone, and I like the way that looks. Now I also punched out a 1.5 inch circle out of that small white piece, and I've got my sentiment from the Seaside Wishes stamp set, and I'm going to ink this up really well. And I'm just kind of walking it, dabbing and walking around. So I'm also going to give this a minute to soak in here, and I'm not rocking the block or anything like that. Perfect. So I'll close this up because I'll stick my fingers in it if it's open. And I'm going to go ahead and glue this piece onto the other piece, and then I'm going to use some dimensionals. Just kind of try to get that in the middle. There we go. And I'm going to pull out my dimensionals. This is a pretty quick and easy project. I actually have been enjoying making these. I need to make a few. And you could, do a mass produce of these. And this, if I was a person who did craft shows, I feel like this would be a great thing to sell in craft shows. There's so many different, I've got other little calendar projects like this from years ago on my YouTube channel where I made different like calendar pages for every month and decorated them according to the month. That's always a really fun to do. Okay, and that's going to complete the front. Now on my other project, my colorful floral ones, I included some of that ribbon and I included some of those sequins. You could do that as well. I just put the ribbon on before I put the sentiment on. But I'm going to leave this pretty plain and straightforward. All right, I've got a piece of early espresso cut at 3 by 3 inches square. I scored it at 1/2, 1.5, and 2.5. And then I'm going to fold it in a mountain fold or an accordion fold, or some people call it a concertina fold, whatever you call that. I'm going to do it just like this. So I'm going to open this up, and these sides went like this. So I'm going to put the tear and tape on those littler flaps, just like this. And this is going to make the accordion part on the inside that holds the easel. So I'm just going to burnish the tape so it's really stuck. And I'm going to grab this Take-A-Pick tool and peel off these backing pieces. There we go. And then I'm just opening this up, and I'm going to like fold it again so it looks like this, and the sticky part's on the outside. And then I'm just going to line that sticky part up with the back of the card, and I'm doing this on the inside of the card. So I'm just lining that up with the bottom like that. I'm going to close this like this, and then just close the card, and it'll line it up there. So I've got it lined like that, and then you can stand it up like that. You can see on the inside what that looks like, and it just folds up and fits in an envelope. So like if it's in a regular A2 size envelope, and that completes that. So let me show you how I would do the pocket on the other one. So I've got a piece of this Melon Mambo. I'm working on this project. Same measurements. The only thing I added was the ribbon, and I did that before I actually put the label down, and then I just added a bow separately. I just found it easier to tie the bow after I put it on. So I just used glue dots for that, and I attached it on the inside. And then I have this piece, and this is cut at 3 by 4.25. So that's 3 by 4.25. And now I'm going to take it, and the 3-inch length is the vertical length. And I'm going to grab my trimmer, and I'm going to do some scoring here. So I'm going to score both sides and the bottom at 1/4 inch, and then 1/2 inch. The only side I'm not scoring at 1/4 and 1/2 is the top. So 1/4, 1/2, both sides and the bottom. 1/4 and 1/2, and this will create the box pocket. That's what I've always called them. I don't know if they have another name. If you know another name for them, please let me know. Now I just cut this part right off, this little tab at the bottom. You do that however you like to do it. Nobody's going to see this part really, so I don't worry about tucking it under or angling it or doing anything fancy at all. Then I'm just going to give all of these a little fold. You can use your bone folder if you want to. just like that. And instead of the tear and tape, now if you want these to be a little bit bigger, you can make them, you can make this bigger, like make it an inch. Let's see, it would be, if you want to do these 1/2 inch instead of 1/4, like 1/2 inch, then 1 inch, 1/2 inch, then 1 inch, and so forth, then you have to add an inch to the width and 1/2 inch to the length. So that's completely up to what you like to do. Now I have this a little 1/8 inch double-sided tape that fits perfectly. You can use a 1/4 inch, but sometimes I'm kind of sloppy putting it on and it actually spills over a little bit, which doesn't hurt anything, but. And you can also add a little liquid adhesive on the top of this as well. There we go, but this usually sticks pretty well for me. And again, I'm just going to burnish all of these and then remove the backing. I've got this little plastic container that I got either at the dollar store or one of the craft stores, and I use that for the little bits while I'm doing my creative stuff. Now I like to fold the sides over first and then fold the back, and I'll just stick the back to the sides there. So it goes like this so that I can slide my Post-it notes right in here. And I've got a little bit of a dimension there so that my Post-it notes actually slide in there. I can get more than one Post-it note, or sticky, I should be calling them sticky notes, just like that. And I like the bottom to be folded last, because sometimes if I fold that first, when I go to slide these in, they just get stuck on that bottom part. Now, one of the tricks here is to get this as close to the bottom. I like a little bit of that to show. That pattern paper to show, but you don't want too much because you definitely want room for your Post-it notes. And the other thing too is you definitely want to get it straight. It will annoy you to no end if you're looking at something that's crooked for the whole year. So you definitely want to get it straight. And I use my bone folder to slide in there and just press along the sides and along the bottom just to adhere that tape a little bit like that. Okay, now when I cut out my paper, there was this 3/4 inch strip left. I trimmed this down to 3 1/8, and I'm going to add some glue on the back of that. And I'm just going, this just added a little bit of extra, and it's a way to use up the little strip instead of throwing it away or figuring out something else to do with it. So I'm just kind of putting it along the top here, giving it a little bit of a press, not too hard. I don't want to crease my paper there. Oops, I need this. And then I'm going to grab one of these little calendars, and they just peel off. And I did just stick these with my liquid glue. You could use your tear and tape if you want to, or your snail plus, I think is probably a good thing for that. Not a huge fan of, not the snail, but the Stampin' Seal. And that's that. I can now add this part, which I've already prepared. And I'm going to add some sequins because they're free. The ribbon was free. The pattern paper was free. Like, I love this project. I think I might wait till I get my Sale-a-Bration products every year, because they almost always have a ribbon that's free, and they always have designer series paper. There are actually at least 2 other packages of designer series paper. Another 6x6, also very colorful, and then there's a 12x12 package, which is very beautiful, that you can get for free. So, you know, there's lots of paper choices this year, and I love that. And there's lots of different stamps, and there's even at least one die set in there. All right, so that's that. Now let me grab my sequins, and I just like a little bit of sparkle here. I'm going to use the lighter, and I'm going to put one here. Maybe I'll put one here. Maybe I'll put one up here. There we go. And then I can add, I have to go to the dollar store today because I don't really have any sticky notes. So there we go, and that slides in nicely. Now, one little trick, you can see I don't have a ton of room down here for this. I did put the point of that just above the designer series paper. I kind of lined the designer series paper up with this, and the end of the little point down here does actually get covered a little bit, but that's okay. That actually worked out beautifully, and I think that turned out so pretty. I really love this. I think it's a really fun project, and again, you can make it without the post-it notes. Not everybody uses the sticky notes, and you can use the fun Toadstool papers. Super fun. And I love the pattern papers in this. I think they're going to make very sweet album pages for my scrapbooks, so I'm excited about it. And you get 48 sheets of double-sided pattern paper in that little free package of paper. And all you have to do is place an order at shopwithkim.net on January 7th, anytime between January 7th and February 28th. And spend $60 in product before shipping and tax, and you can select that paper or that ribbon or those little sequins or any of the other things in the catalog. So that is super fun. And you will find the catalog, the new mini catalog and the Sale-a-Bration catalog online at shopwithkim.net. I would love it if you give this video a thumbs up, and I would love it if you subscribe to my channel. If you're not already subscribed, make sure you click the bell and you click all so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. And I am going to try to do some lives this year, so I will give you more information about that. And I'm going to start up my newsletter again. And sometime this month I will have that available as well, and I will keep you posted. So thank you so much for watching, friends. I hope you have a healthy and happy new year, and I hope 2025 brings you all the things you're hoping for. Have a wonderful year. Thank you so much for watching today.